Welcome to Back Issues.
Boo!
We are covering this week. We build this as the race between the worst X-Men movies: X-Men Origins, Wolverine,
and X-Men 3: The Last Stand.
I
know
it's still a toss-up.
It's a tough call.
we gotta get back to you. We've so far we're in the middle. We haven't watched The Last Stand yet on the show, and I feel we owe it to that.
We'll get there.
At least to my friend who did hair.
Yeah, but tonight we watched X-Men Origins Wolverine.
They have great hair in X-Men The Last Stand.
What do we say? Gavin Hood was the director.
Yeah.
$150 million budget, so it's probably it is the biggest film budget that we've watched so far.
This is the biggest budget movie?
$150 million for this movie.
Oh, it does not show at all. It's so ugly looking. It looks like Roger Rabbit most of the time. With his claws?
Like the whole movie? Or
The
just
whole-
the claws too?
The claws. Please, Eddie! It's brutal. It's brutal.
Whoa, there goes the sink.
Man, it's as bad. It made me reference The Spirit, where Samuel L. Jackson as the octopus, who is a character who is supposed to have his tentacles and everything, but never seen. He's supposed to be behind the scenes like the Great Wizard of Oz, but they're like right away he's fighting in a mud pit, and then he's fighting with a toilet. And that is directly referenced, call my bullshit or don't, directly referenced in Batman v Superman when they're fighting in the bathroom and then he hits him with this fucking kitchen sink and stuff. It's totally.
That might have just been a metaphor for the entire movie, then.
The whole movie.
Oh, burn.
Yeah, we're not really talking about Batman.
We're not really talking about Batman v
Then we can
Superman.
go-
Yeah, we're always talking.
Yeah,
Look at
well,
the
you're
crazy
always
It's
talking
subtext
about
of
it, yeah.
society.
Okay, so I know it's easy to kind of criticize this movie, but is there anybody amongst us that has something good to say about this movie?
Yeah.
Hey, I like it. Yeah, hotspot.
For what it's worth, I don't know if this is actually of value, but I think there was a lot of potential there.
Yes. I agree completely. I said that over and over again through the
Yeah.
viewing.
I feel like there was like a lot of like hits, and it's like, oh, this could be good, and then it was a miss. Oh, this, like, I feel like there was a lot of foundating ideas that were maybe along the right track, but they just didn't kind of.
Yeah, totally.
It was like a comedian having an off night. And a lot of the jokes don't land.
Or like Bill
It's like
Burr's-
they're good ideas.
And you know they're good.
They're good, and you're like, wow, no one's thought of that. But you stumbled, you clumsily spilled your lines. It
Everyone
was like,
said how good you were.
and then it was like, just something. I don't know. That's what happened. Hugh Jackman, we love you. You're our wonderful poster child so far.
That is something.
The only
that I
perfect
think,
score on our show so far is Logan.
Yeah.
Well, I think just as in Logan, in this film, I think we can safely agree the casting was really good for all of the lead characters in particular.
Liev Schreiber!
Will.i.am!
Will.i.am! Ryan Reynolds!
I'm not 100% sure why. I think it was him and Ryan Reynolds approached, and neither of them had
Kevin
to do an
Durant
audition.
from Lost!
Will.i.am, I think, maybe needed an audition, but hey, how was it? Kevin Durant as the Blob, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth, and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine were all excellent.
In fact, let it be on record that through the grapevine, it's come to my attention, and I'm sure it's going to play out, that there was intended an Sabretooth cameo. Spoiler alert, I'll throw it up first for a change. For Logan. There was a Sabretooth cameo intended in Logan, which would have then definitely been Liev Schreiber, because if you check out Kate and Leopold, Liev Schreiber is one of the main characters. He's like the guy that goes, spoiler alert, back in time to King Arthur's court. It's to early New York, and they're building the Brooklyn Bridge or some shit. Right? Is that what's happening? And then he bumps into Hugh Jackman is his like great grandfather, and he's like he notices him, and he's supposed to be some like broke, political guy from Britain who's like has like ties in America, but he's broke.
Yeah.
And they're trying to marry him off.
Needless
and then,
to say,
then he
Hugh
goes
Jackman,
to the future.
Yeah.
meets Meg Ryan in like a
Hugh
1980s
Jackman and Liev Schreiber had
rom-com.
history. We're not talking about
That's
Kate
great.
Leopold as much as you love talking about Kate and Leopold.
It's a
And
good
Star Trek.
movie.
It's a change for Veronica Mars.
It is a change
Yeah.
from Veronica Mars.
It's a good movie.
I
You should
don't
all
have
watch
anything
it.
that you can piece out from this guy. That's,
That was good about the
that's
movie?
good. Yeah.
Silenced.
Oh.
Yeah, literally the credit sequence.
Yeah.
Opening credit sequence.
That was
Incredible.
great.
Like the opening credits, I'm just the credit sequence, like just that 2.5 minutes was pretty great.
7 and 46
Well, if
or
you,
whatever you say.
if you
Yeah.
add in like the
What's the-
1845 stuff, which is
Yeah.
like
If they
super
made the
pointless.
1845 stuff rated R and had
Or
Victor
10 minutes
help him
long.
out and it was bloody and then he killed the other guy and they both were fugitives and they ran off and it was like a bond and a brotherly thing and then you played that out and you had it like be Victor's story and flash between like the present and now and the past and you're just like you sort of get in Victor's head and you're like, why is he a crazy dude? Why is he upset? Like he's dealing with Magneto. You get all these snippets. You could make it like an anti-Hush.
But that's pitching, Tim. We'll
Sorry.
put a button in it. I
Button
know.
it for now.
Look,
There was
if
so
you want to
much
get the full
potential.
scoop, if you want to
It's
get
the
the full
point Mel was
scoop on
making.
what Tim was pitching just there, listening to our podcast whilst
Yeah.
we were watching the Wolverine movie, I'm pretty sure 3/4 of it is Tim pitching a Victor.
Victor-driven.
movie.
Yeah.
But anyway,
That would be great.
anything else that stands out for this movie for anybody?
that was good.
That was good. Anyway, yeah, that's a good point.
The
Donald
level of
Monaghan.
schlock, we all remembered the ladder sequence.
I don't know if I could claim that as good. I have to be
It's not
honest.
good.
It's
Yeah,
badly good.
No.
It's so bad it's good.
No, I have to disagree.
I don't
on
think it
that.
ever gets there though, because it's too.
It's
confidently-
ridiculously
It's
bad.
too expensive to be that.
It's kind of out of context a little bit. Like
Yeah.
It's
like they weren't trying to make
Well,
fun of it.
the physics doesn't
No,
work.
they were
like-
not trying to make
No.
fun of it.
Yeah. Like,
to be fair, it's been
Wolverine
pointed out in
sticking
other
his claws
podcasts that the
in
physics of the X-Men universe don't always make sense. Even the original X-Men, they
Well, yeah,
leap in and
obviously.
leap out, and other things happen.
But that was
Maybe Magneto's
everything
doing
about
it, all.
it, like when he was slicing.
Probably, it's pretty
Mm.
cool.
It looked like a cartoon, and I guarantee they did not want it. They were like, "This is gonna be super cool." When they're on set, they're filming it, and like Hugh Jackman's giving it his all. Like this is gonna look so.
He was
great.
giving it his all. All of them
And then
were giving
they
it
sped
all.
up the footage
I
of
honestly
him
believe that.
doing it, and just it all looked like a cartoon. And I know that's not what they intended.
No.
They didn't want
And,
it to look like
and the cartoon does it better in 22 minutes, which was sort of what we kept coming back to. It's like
Well, what Tim kept coming
what I
back to.
kept.
So
So,
just
all right.
just gonna throw that out there.
Well, I'll go on record. It was unfortunate. They could have gone. The advantage I feel to going with real people and having the ability to have a face, a beautiful human face that emotes and does things and smiles and is sad and all these stuff. This is what you want. The cartoons don't do that. Then you're relying on an artist to do something perfectly. And an artist is just one person, can do one thing. But you're trying to convey a cinematic endeavor, which is like many thousand people sometimes working together to achieve a beautiful end that has a good meaning, something, and a feeling that it will make in you. As James Gunn likes to call it, a machine to fuck you up. I think there's
this
no better
movie
word.
kind of missed. It kind of missed that mark for me. The big thing that didn't really work for me with this movie was the storyline. I don't know.
Wishy-washy.
Yeah, it felt like it was trying to do a few too many things, and the inspirations apparently, I thought it was some Silver Samurai stuff, but David Benoff had Weapon X and 1862 in mind when he was writing this. So 1862, I thought, oh, that could be really interesting. I think if we'd seen more of the time travel
Is
aspect,
that the Neil
that would've been
Gaiman
really
Marvel book? I haven't read it.
Yes.
I think it is.
Yes, it is.
How cool is that?
It's pretty good. So you can see
Well, now I have
that
homework.
in the period piece
Oh,
with this.
rats.
But I think it would have been nice to see more of that throughout the entire movie. Because the story just, it
I'm
never
on
really
board.
sank. We never really got invested in any characters, and then were able to have a big emotional fall off. If we'd had that, would have been much, much better in my mind. We didn't have anything that really we could latch onto other than the fact that it's like, Wolverine. It's meant to be cool. Because he has fucking metal claws in his hands.
But he didn't have metal claws. He had bone claws, which is significantly less cool. It's weird. And if they're bone claws, they should always be bloody. I don't know. It's like it's
right?
the way. It's the imagery. It's like something about imagery. And then it should be restricted. And I don't want to see bone claws. Bone claws, in principle, it's like a cool way to like explore Wolverine sideways. But it's not cool. Wolverine is cool because he has metal claws. It's like someone did that to him. Bone claws, it's like, it's weird.
No.
It's like he's like a circus freak. It's
Isaiah?
like I like the circus.
Yeah.
What didn't work in this
I love the
movie?
circus. I know the freaks.
I the freaks. I don't want to run away and join the circus,
Oh,
but
I
I
do.
will be at the circus. I'll check it out.
We'll
I'll
get
be
we'll
a
get to that,
circus
buddy.
freak.
Isaiah, let's
Childhood
shoot over
dream.
to you.
So
Look at my beard.
what didn't work?
Robin's from
Yeah,
the
what did?
circus.
Hey,
Who doesn't love
hey,
Robin?
hey, you're talking too much at the moment. I need to call you on your shit.
Call me on my shit.
Shut up and let somebody else talk for a moment.
You got it.
God.
Okay,
Go,
so
go, go.
what didn't work? I mean, I can't. This videos can't be 4 hours long. So, what didn't work?
should do a
The
bonus.
vis effects, the
Don't
story,
make me separate you two.
most of the acting, the third act climax, just everything didn't work. Like it was, I was really trying to pay attention, but I feel like even if I heard all of the dialogue, like none of it made sense. It didn't go together in any sort of way that was cohesive.
But it did probably initially. It was like a total committee script.
Yeah, for sure.
It was
And
like
just
built on, and then they were like, make it shorter, make it more bearable.
and like it's an
like-
hour and 40 minutes long. It felt like a two and a
half hour movie.
It
It felt like
dragged
that.
in
Yeah.
the worst possible way.
Worst possible
Yeah.
ways.
I just
And
think
the action sequences dragged you out. They were
Yeah.
too long.
And
They
they were
like
shitty.
made them seem longer.
one of the major complaints I have with this movie is like as soon as he gets the metal claws, it's like they do everything that the script needs them to do. It's like what?
Mel, what didn't work for this movie for you?
I don't know.
I feel like a lot of things, but for the most part, I think the biggest like sign that I wasn't maybe a great movie was I just wasn't invested. I didn't care. I was getting distracted in my own mind. I think I tuned out for a while there. Good movies, I don't tune out.
No.
I
it's
feel
true.
like I missed a chunk of the movie where, I mean, it might have been getting caught up in what you guys were chatting about, but
Probably not. It was just not.
There's
When-
a lot of shit that was being said, I can tell you that much. but-
so, the saber-toothed tiger character, like he was,
Trini.
yeah, like, I don't even know the names. Like, I'm so not invested.
It's true.
So-
no.
Um,
That's the Power Ranger, I mean. Sorry, go on. The saber-toothed tiger. Sorry, go on.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm out. Move on.
No, it's so bad.
Oh
go
my
on.
god. I'm too tired.
No.
Okay.
Sabretooth and Wolverine. is
I'm
that
done
what
for
you're
now.
talking about?
Let's move on.
Wow.
You and I went, Mel went, Tim. What didn't work?
Oh, Tim.
What didn't work? Alright.
Without pitching another movie.
No, I won't picture it. Well, other than the effects, which are easy to look past, honestly, like they're silly and they're bad, but I think it totally is fine. Like I buy Roger Rabbit, but it's bad. Like, and it just was like an expensive solution to something they should never have even dealt with. He should have been holding knives in his hands. And that's easy to do. Whatever, move past that. The story itself was kind of a cool idea. I see on paper how all the points were there. Like, if you were gonna write a book about this, if someone came to you and was like, write a Wolverine story that sums up the entire Wolverine story, you might come up with something that was like this film. And I see the twists and turns they made, and I don't know that they would have been the same ones. Like, you could have left then all of them out. Like, there should have been no Deadpool, there should have been no other mutants at all. It should have been Magneto, really, working with Stryker.
Is he pitching another movie?
No, I don't need to go
I think
into
I think he's pitching another movie.
However it went, it should just have not had all these other characters.
Yeah.
And it's cool if it's only going to be about them. I always look at a movie in terms of like how much screen time an actor gets as well. Like it's important because, or how impactful the scene is. It's like it's one or the other, right? It's like the Wizard of Oz has what, 2 scenes? Like, but he's like that's what it's called. Like, he's very integral to the development of that world and the universe and how all the characters behave and that's cool. So like that's where like being that kind of an actor in a movie, I think you'll find some fulfillment. And at the same note, if you're the like lead and you're carrying the whole story and everybody's like, wow, look at this guy or chick, they brought the whole performance on themselves, they carried it through, it became this like, and it can be cheeseball all the way, but it can still land every time. It's like you're carrying some funny, silly, stupid, heavy-looking backpack up the beach. And you make all these steps in the sand as you go. And the waves wash on. And you're carrying this stupid, heavy, ugly backpack. And it's like red or orange or some stupid-looking color. And like seagulls are flying over you. And you're like doing that.
Okay, your point is?
Yeah, but if you make it look cool, if you get a good picture, if you have a good little song to write about that, or whatever the point is, like, you know, that's all my point is. Seagull backpacks. Those fucking seagulls.
Okay.
Stop it now.
Oh, man. It's wonderful. Okay. Seagull backpack. Like we need to change our rating system.
No. Basically, it was a bad movie. It had a lot of good thoughts.
Bad movie, okay.
There were very few good-looking scenes.
So what?
That didn't use a green screen.
All right. So what would you rate the movie then, Tim? Out of the what are we saying? Flying laser heads.
Severed laser heads. Sorry.
Lying.
Thank you, Mel.
That's terrible. Severed laser
Severed.
heads. Out of
Severed
between
flying
one
laser
being
head.
the lowest and 5 being the highest, severed laser heads. What would you rate this movie, Tim?
You know what? This will be my solid 1 scale.
Ooh.
I give this a solid 1.
Solid 1.
Go ahead.
This is like,
Wow.
if you deliver this, I will watch your movie. I feel this is watchable in a 1 level. It's like, I enjoyed it 3 times. I watched it on a plane. I watched it in theaters. I watched it when I bought the movie. And now this is the 4th time I've watched this film. And you know what? There are moments. There are things I noticed anew each viewing. Things I hate more. Stuff I...
You can notice
but,
new things in this movie.
Sure, they're there. There are moments. Also, I don't know. It's just bad enough that it's so bad it's good for me. Just the right stuff. It's just schlocky enough. I don't know. I would put this on at a party. So that is 1 viewing for Tim. So I give this 1 flying severed head. Severed laser head.
So you'd put it on at a party, but you still only giving it 1?
1. Yeah, I gave Supergirl 2. I have to be reasonable. Supergirl was better than this.
It might have been.
Okay.
Supergirl was better.
Care to expand, Isaiah? What's your rating?
I can't remember what the lowest rating for a movie I've given. It's the problem with...
0.5, I believe, is the lowest.
Okay.
Isaiah
What movie
was for
that?
the
Just
shadow,
1 eyeball.
and in maniacal laughter, I believe it was.
Ha!
Oh, yeah, so...
It's like a kind of strangled laugh. So you haven't even given a full number. You've
I'm
given a
gonna do 1 severed laser head, like Tim. It's like...
We agree.
For me, it's like, it's not bad enough to be good, because it needed more moments like
The opening credits.
the stupid like slapping the claws together that looks like garbage, and like the ladder. It needed more of those moments to be so bad that it's good. But yeah, it's like it's just almost nothing redeeming about this movie.
Almost nothing.
I like I said, I watched it in the theater in 2009. I watched it again tonight. Probably will never put it on again.
Then you're more charitable than I, sir.
Yeah, I'll probably never watch this movie
What are
again.
you talking about? You said you'd throw it on.
I would throw it on again. I would watch this again. That's honestly,
So how is it more
it's you know what?
charitable?
It's
I'm less charitable.
enough
You're less
cool.
exactly.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
but you gave it a 1. I am much more critical than on my 1. I feel than you, sir. Like that's all I mean.
Oh, now the rating. Let's not touch on that. No.
Yeah.
How you
All right.
You know what? I'm following suit. I'm going with 1 severed laser head.
Oh no.
I will never get that image of the head
That's so good.
falling
It's
out
so
of my
good.
mind ever.
Yeah.
I think I might have missed it the first time round. I've seen this movie once before, but I clearly fell asleep because I would have remembered that.
That's awesome.
So I'm glad that is seared into my mind right now. That's
Sorry.
probably why I'm giving it a 1. I would not. I don't know. I wouldn't. I'd be really disappointed if I bought a movie ticket to go and see this.
I did.
I did too.
I did.
I didn't. Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad I've seen it. I don't think I would see it again.
What if it were on at a party? How much
Well,
of the
I would
party
not
would you
leave your
spend in that
party,
room?
Tim. Like,
Oh,
Yeah.
So
What
if
if it
you
was-
wanted to get rid of me, this would not get me out of your house.
Yeah, I would like.
What if it wasn't my party? What if we happened to be somewhere and I convinced them to put on X-Men Origins Wolverine?
Then I would ask you why.
I don't know.
Do that.
It's because I have
What kind of person are you?
a person with a specially designed pocket in their backpack that carries around X-Men Origins Wolverine
So
everywhere I go.
this is the movie you carry around in your.
No, I won't. I won't go on that.
backpack.
Yeah.
Is it like an X-shaped bag?
Well,
What would it be? That's a good question. Everybody's seen Jurassic Park or should own it, so it might be the never-ending story. I don't know. That's my scale. We haven't really discussed what our movie scale is. Like, what's your guys' favorite movie?
Oh my gosh, that
Favorite,
is-
like, spray of, like, a few. Like, we should tell people. Like, so they have a sense of what we're like. Jurassic Park, I think, is a perfect film.
We could-
Back to the Future's a perfect film.
We could do a video where we talk about
where we talk about
just our favorite movies.
favorite movies.
I
just
feel
like
like
sit
this is a
down.
whole nother topic.
Whole other
Yeah, just
topic.
like sit
Yeah.
down for 5-10 minutes and talk.
And
about
just
it.
talk about them. What?
And then you can just click this link right
Like this
here.
link right
Yeah.
there.
It'll
Here,
take you
or here.
places.
There as
There.
well. And it's
Okay.
moving.
Now we need to know what Bray's gonna give
That's
it.
gonna take too much to edit, Tim.
Oh yeah, it's just there.
It's just there.
It's just could this be the first?
Yeah, who's doing the editing this week? If it's me, it's right there.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Bray's not giving his rating.
Oh, he doesn't. Yeah, you fuck. You gotta.
This
I'm
guy,
gonna
right?
cut you off.
If he's not talking, then you know
Why do they rap?
nobody else needs anything to say, so it's fine.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir. Right. No,
I mean, it's gonna be a 1, right?
no, you might go
It's
high.
actually gonna be a 2.
No!
This is the Muffle Boy.
This still in my mind is not as bad as X3 The Last Stand.
Oh, I.
X3 The Last Stand is the worst.
Wait for me to sit down.
Hold on. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so for me, this movie is an inspiration for Logan in this day and age because this movie right now is Hugh Jackman jumping in, doing a producer credit on here, and he insisted on not having an R rating despite what the writer had in mind. So you look at that in, what did we say, 2009?
2009.
I guess 08 when it was being written.
08, yeah, 08, 09,
Even
like
earlier.
development
Earlier, yeah.
to 2016, 2017 development for Logan. And like this is the thing with the journey of this character. I think if we hadn't had this movie, then we would have had a very different result up here. So
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
like
That's a
yeah. For that, I gotta give it chops because this is again Hugh Jackman learning more about the character. So that's why I gotta give it 2. Like I definitely don't think it's a 1. Not at this point in time, but
Ah,
we'll see.
cool, man.
Alright.
Wow, that's nice. I
Yeah.
like that.
You gotta have a.
I stick with my 1, but I
hey,
like your,
hey,
I like your
that's
2.
totally fine.
I like his 2.
All right. I know we've heard a couple of pitches from Tim already, but
you guys
we'll
give
we'll throw it out to the table. Who has an idea for what would have made this movie better? I feel like we've covered some of it, but
I mean, you could just listen to the full podcast, but
we pretty much.
why wasn't the movie... Why didn't it start in 1845 and the first 20 minutes of the movie be that, and like build the relationship between him and this other dude and this person who's not his father, and then that kill would have meant something at least, and then just the rest of the movie would have been, James Howlett and Liev Schreiber.
Like
as
Patriot
Sabretooth.
a little bit or something.
Just
like
going
that,
through
right?
the wars until they get up to Vietnam, and then finally in Vietnam, Sabretooth loses it, and that's where their relationship just crumbles, and then you end.
What if he created a society and in
Not
the
X-Force,
bush
but
he'd be
Weapon X.
becomes some sort of thing, and he uses his chemical weapons to try and raise an army of mutants, and it's off
he raises his
Victor. I'm all about the Victor now.
He uses his chemical powers. What?
No, his X-Men powers.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying purely 1v1.
Straight up 1v1.
Like the destruction of two brothers who were not actual brothers, but they're basically brothers.
Yeah.
And it's just the destruction of their relationship throughout the entire movie. And then at the end of the movie, Wolverine joins Weapon X, and then the movie ends.
Yeah.
Period.
It wipes his mind, and that's the thing. He gives up.
Yeah.
And that's sort of why it's a nice.
Why wasn't that the movie?
Yeah, that would have been a nice. It would have made a lot of sense, and then it's why Sabretooth becomes a villain, because he doesn't, because he keeps going, and he's has all these thoughts in his head, the things they've seen, the stuff they've done. That would have been a super cool movie. Maybe they can still make that. Is my
but
point.
for the grace of
I think
God
the
goes
one.
Wolverine.
Well,
he lost his memory, so he doesn't become a monster.
Yeah, so he doesn't become a monster. That's a neat way to look at it.
No?
Yeah, I don't know, I'm totally agree. More about the relationship, less about the flair. I'm just wondering, with such a big budget, did that just overwhelm the story? We've got such a big budget, so what are all the things we can do with this budget? And then the story goes a little to the wayside. It just felt very busy and misguided. Confusing with all the different characters. I felt like character motivations were a little all over the place.
Do you know what it felt like for me? It was if you had a sculpted landscape of Action Comics #1 or something. They're trying to tell it's not maybe that even simple. Let's just say the heroic myth or whatever, and they just drag you across it really quickly, and you don't even need to go to all these places, and all these peaks that are unnecessarily throwing off the trajectory of this slapstick flapping of a cartoon person dragged across a eroded landscape of a metaphor.
Okay, I think you may have lost me.
So I think what Tim is saying, I'm just gonna translate.
Okay.
There is a lot of useless stuff around that made you look over here, but what's over there is not important. So just focusing the narrative and the story and everything, getting rid of all of the chaff, and then just breaking it down to the bare bones of the story.
Story.
Yeah. And Tim's friend in the background.
Nice.
My friend. Still there.
Yeah.
Fraser's there.
He did great.
Awesome. So I actually, as the highest rating player,
That was
of
good.
this one,
Nicely done.
I have an interesting idea for this movie. I think would work quite well. It goes back to a little bit of source material of Wolverine pre the Weapon X program, and him losing all of his memories. So what I think would have been really cool to see. I don't think the studio would have gone for it at all. But as you flip the dynamic and you start off with James Howlett, aka the Wolverine, as being the big badass who is kind of the bloodthirsty killer, and he's the assassin, and he loves the job that he does. He is literally the best the best there is, and what
Best
he does.
there was, and the
Yeah,
best there
yeah.
ever
Anyway,
will be.
his catchphrase. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, that totally makes sense when he said it, right?
Exactly.
I didn't
So-
believe it.
Yeah, so
Haven't seen
he's the big badass.
Yeah.
He's the enforcer of the pre-Weapon X program, and Sabretooth is kind of the big lumbering sort of friendly giant character that comes along. He gets recruited into the program, and then he becomes tormented by the Wolverine all throughout this process. And then as time goes on, then eventually Sabretooth escapes. Then he defeats Wolverine. In order for Wolverine to take down Sabretooth, he has to go through the Weapon X program. He then loses his memories, and he becomes the good guy because he's forgotten everything. But Sabretooth, however, has been tormented by Wolverine for so long that then he needs to enact revenge on him, and then he becomes the pseudo-bad guy for us for the remaining time. So I think if they'd done something like that in the origin story, it would have given us a whole picture of what Wolverine is, and also his like relationship with Sabretooth, and it would have really entrenched it, and it would have given us a better look at like pre-Weapon X, the Wolverine that we were dealing with. You know, we didn't have to go all the way back to when he was a kid and everything. You can tell that story when he's an adult.
Yeah, you can with flashbacks.
Sorry, I'll get off
that
my
don't matter.
soapbox now, and I'm gonna kick it to the side over there. But yeah, that's what I would do.
Cool. I like
Well,
that.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, basically, just make it about something.
Yeah, that's very true.
Something would be cool. I really like the idea of a Victor-Logan relationship. I think it was cool, and they set it up brilliantly right at the get-go. They promise you something, and they don't deliver. And that's the worst part of this movie.
Yeah.
For me. It is like, it's a lot of a cool setup. And then you buy in. You're like, well, this is nicely shot. This is well filmed. This looks good. That's BC. That's Vancouver. That looks good. I like there. That's a good coffee spot. Or whatever. But then you're like, they're not talking about anything that matters for a lot of the time. And
No,
that's
names
too
aren't
bad.
really a big thing. We don't really get stuck with characters.
They don't have experiences that we sympathize and emote with. We don't empathize. We don't go through their various trials and tribulations.
So what are our parting words for X-Men Origins: The Wolverine, the second worst X-Men movie?
see you never again,
Wow.
except maybe at Tim's party.
Love it.
I won't go so far as to say this will be on at all my parties. But you should come to one of my parties and check it out.
I would say after this movie, I think this is the time when Hugh Jackman went, you know what, to new beginnings for Wolverine. That would be my parting thing for this movie.
But a
'Cause
lot of
I'm going to keep the
new
positive
beginnings.
spin
A
on
lot
this
of
guy.
Logan, though,
I like it.
pulls out of this. I say
Exactly.
it redoes this over again. In a better way. Like that farm scene, all that stuff. A lot of that is a do-over in Logan. I will go on cinematic record and say,
What?
there's no way Mangold didn't go there. He was like, what didn't work before?
He
How can I
wasn't-
work
He
it?
wasn't doing a do-over. He was honoring the
Honoring.
history of the Wolverine, and
That's
that's
what
and
a
that's what
do-over
that's,
is.
No,
You
it's
don't waste
not.
people's time.
Logan was
That's
all
the
about
main thing.
Logan was about honoring the journey that Hugh Jackman had gone on with this character and everything that had happened before, and that was a
More
pivotal
than the
moment.
journey. He wasn't like some dolt either. He wasn't just always there. It would be like if they made a Michael Gogg Alfred movie. Like, why would anybody? No offense. Like, it would have been cool, maybe, but like nobody really wants a movie about Alfred. Like, it might have been cool to have him in like a Nick Fury capacity if they'd done that in the 90s, but they never went there. And like nobody, like, that's not a movie you tell. Like, I don't know, it has to be about something, and this is the point.
Yeah, but Logan was also about 17 years of character development as well. We haven't had that with Alfred yet.
Well, it's it's why Logan could tell things with like an eyebrow movement, and all the characters could. It was the most beautiful eyebrow movements I've seen in a film in a long time.
It's very nice.
And I'm always looking.
You need to watch
At your
Silent Night,
eyebrow
David
movements.
Lynch.
There's a symphony of nuances.
A A symphony of nuances.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I want a T-shirt.
And it's like a symphony of nuances, and then just Hugh Jackman's eyebrow. Let's do it.
That's X-Men Origins Wolverine. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're back issues. We've got Mel, Tim, Brian, Isaiah. We have had a wonderful time with you this evening.
Thanks for joining us.
Like, share, subscribe because of the YouTube algorithm.
And all the stuff they said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna go get drawing. Let's go.